Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. I thought I would do a video series of the Scream films and why each victim were chosen. Now within all the Scream movies, there are some victims that are carefully chosen for specific reasons, and there's some victims that are accidentally chosen or just in the way. So I'm going to be going through every victim that Ghostface has killed and tell you if there was some sort of reason for them doing it. I'll also go through, before we even begin each victim, I'm going to give you the motive behind the killers in each of the Scream movies as well, because that motive also helps us decide why they're choosing specific victims. We'll start with Scream 1. The killers in Scream 1 were Billy and Stu. And the motive behind Billy and Stu being the killers are Billy wants to get revenge on Sydney's family because he blames her and Neil Prescott because Sydney's mother, Maureen, had an affair with Billy's dad, and that caused Billy's family to break up, and he didn't like that. So he was going after Sydney to essentially break up her family and kill her family. With Stu, it's a little more simple. Stu just wants to do what Stu does, and he wants to recreate movies, and Billy was able to persuade him to do that. So Stu is basically the muscle, whereas Billy is the brains behind the organisation. Maureen Prescott is the first victim, and she's the first victim from a year previously from the killing spree. And the reason being is behind the motive for Billy is that she had an affair with Billy's dad, Hank, and Billy wanted to kill her and start that killing spree 1 year later. There's a little bit more to that kill and a little bit more to Maureen's backstory, but we'll find out that in the episode for Scream 3. Stephen Orth is the next victim, and he was carefully chosen because he's the boyfriend of Casey Beckett, another victim on the list, and he was the reason that Casey broke up with Stu.
Before she dumped you for Steve.
I thought you dumped it for me.
I did, he's full of shit.
So I'm assuming that Stu said to Billy, let's choose Steve because he was the reason that Casey broke up with me, and Billy's like, let's do it. Casey Becker is the next victim, and the other side of that coin, she was the one that broke up with Stu, so Stu wanted to get revenge on her because he had to choose some victims, and why not choose Casey? And they were a perfect double, Casey and Steve, because they were together. Also, Casey lives on an isolated farm as well, so because this was their first kills together, and the first kills as the Ghostface killers a year after Maureen Prescott, then they wanted to make sure this plan worked, so that it was best to do it in an isolated area. The next victim is Arthur Himbry, or Principal Himbry, and initially I always thought that he was only killed to make a statement, and there's obviously more to it than that, especially when you see the latter part of the movie. Yes, he was killed for a statement, but also they found out that they hung his body from the football field as well.
He was gutted and hung from the goalpost on the football field.
Not just to make a statement, but so that everybody goes to that scene to see what's happening. They might not see his body, but at least they'll go to that scene and see what's happening. And the reason that they do that is because people find out about his body later on, so that anyone at the party who found out from the phone call went to see Principal Himbry, so that everybody else was left alone in the house. And why were they left alone in the house? So that the Ghostface killers could be alone with Sydney. They didn't anticipate Randy staying there because Randy is a nerd. So anytime Randy was almost killed, it was purely accidental because he wasn't supposed to be there. Tatum Riley is the hardest one to pinpoint the reason why. We can only assume that she's part of the killing spree and she was in the way at the time. Plus she was Stu's girlfriend, and we can assume that Stu maybe just thought she was annoying, but at the end of the day, Stu was a madman. He wanted Billy to kill Tatum if it was Billy that done it. He wanted her dead because he wanted the body count to be higher. You could also add on that she was the best friend of Sydney, and because Sydney was a target, then killing her best friend wouldn't be nice. The last victim in the movie was Kenny Brown, and I always hated this one because this was the last one, and out of all the kills the entire movie, he was the one that was unplanned. So the weakest kill, even though it was a good looking kill, the weakest reason in the entire movie was the last one because he was just in the way of Sydney. Ghostface was on his way to get Sydney. Kenny wasn't supposed to be there, and he just got in the way, and that's simply it. To me, Scream is obviously the best movie in the Scream franchise, but when I think back of the reasons for doing what the Ghostface killers are doing, like I said, Kenny's kill was a good kill, but the most pointless kill and the unplanned kill, and it was the last one in the film. I think the best one in the movie is Maureen Prescott, and we don't get to see that kill. Maybe we'll see it in the future movies, but we don't get to see the best one on the list because that happened a year prior, and we have to just let our imaginations do the fill in the blanks, basically. But I would have liked to have seen what happened with Maureen. I know we saw the crime scene mock-up in Scream 3, but I wanted to see more than that because her kill had the best motive. Obviously, there's no reason to kill anyone, but that was the best motive out of them all, and we didn't get to see it. So out of all of those motives and why each victim were chosen, leave your comments down below, guys. Let me know what you think is the best one. Not the best kill, but the best motive and reason for Ghostface going to act after their victims. Leave that comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back!